hello, and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and again, as always, thanks so much for being here today. Well, I have a terrific show for you today, as I hope you've enjoyed all the others. We're going to highlight the Saybrook Stage Company, which is based in Old Saybrook, Connecticut. And Terri Corigliano and Nick Roesler are my guests today, and you're going to enjoy getting to meet them. And Terri, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us back.
And as the founder and producer, you are a busy person.
Yes, we are, and it's great to be back with a large-scale production. I'm thrilled. After being, in COVID for the last year and a half, 2 years, we're happy to be back at the Kate and looking forward to a big production. So.
One of the things that I want to do, which I know the audience is important to you, is the viewer is important to me, is you were here a few months ago. Let's refresh the memory of the viewer. Why don't you tell us about yourself? Take us back into your background.
Well, my background is, I'm basically a lawyer. I'm trained as a lawyer, and but I've been acting forever, and I've spent really the last 30 years of my life in education, teaching public speaking and law and media history, the last 10 years of which I've been at University, and I always did theater as sort of a hobby of mine, and I got involved with the Kate when it first opened in Old Saybrook about, I think it's 2011. We started, and I think the Kate was 2010, I believe. So I was in as a volunteer for about a year, and then I really wanted to start a theater company, and I thought that was the best place to do it. So.
Did you know as a child or a young person that you wanted to be an actor for the rest of your life? I mean, did you want to generate revenue from it?
Yes, I think at one point I did, and of course that's always the thing
dream,
for actors,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Make money.
Exactly. Right, exactly. But I have loved acting, since I was in kindergarten or something. But and I got the bug from my mother, and so I think she encouraged me to do something a little bit more, that would bring in money a little bit more than acting, and which to go to law school. So of course, you do have, trial work and things like that, and that's a little bit of acting certainly. But I realized when I stayed home with my children when I graduated law school, and then I worked for about 2 years as a lawyer, and really enjoyed it. But then I realized that I couldn't really do both the way I wanted to, mothering and being a lawyer. So what I ended up doing is getting involved in teaching, and I started out at Sacred Heart University, many years ago, teaching paralegals over 30 years ago now. And so I taught them at night, and I took care of my kids during the day, and I just discovered my passion really was teaching, which was another thing I wanted to do when I was like this big. And so I kind of married the two, and over the years I've taught civics at Mercy High School in Middletown for about 10 years. I've taught at Quinnipiac, but my passion really is teaching, and certainly public speaking is one of my favorite things to teach, especially the high school and college level.
Which of course a lot of people, young people, are very anxious about public speaking. You must have a lot to deal with when you're trying to teach them to do it.
I do, but I have certain techniques that make it really more fun than stressful. Certainly in the first couple of weeks, dealing with a new group of students who are just getting to know each other. I think, I have a couple of sort of special techniques that make it more of a game for them, and they really don't even know that they're public speaking in front of people until they're playing these games, and then they get comfortable. And really that's all it is. Once they realize that the audience doesn't want you to make a mistake, they want you to do your best. They don't want to go to a show and have somebody do something, fall off the stage or something, or get run off the stage. They're with you. And once they realize that the audience is with them, it gives them a whole new level of confidence, which is neat.
And Nick, why don't we introduce the audience to you? I have you down as actor, acting teacher, director, and theater administrator. You are a busy person.
It's been a wild and varied career, I should say. Yeah. But primarily my bread and butter is with acting. That's what I like to do the most, and that's where I find the most pleasure. Second only to perhaps teaching. Yeah, I really enjoy that as well. So
Did you decide also as a young person? I mean, were you an actor as a child or a young person? When did it start?
I started around 12, really, when I was cast in my first musical in middle school, and kept wanting to do it from there on out. But throughout college and a few years after, kept convincing myself that it wasn't what I should be doing because I'll never make money. But I kept coming back to it over and over and over again. And then by the time I got to grad school in my late 20s, I realized that there was nothing else I could do and be happy. So I kept going from there, and it's been, as I've said, it's been varied. You get your ups, you get your downs, but it's been interesting, I will say that. Fun at a lot of different times, hard at some others, but yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Is theater your love? Are you doing film, television, commercials? What is the genre that you like?
I would take anything that comes my way, but yeah, theater is very much where my home is, where my heart is. I really do enjoy being on stage. I love live audiences. I feed off of that energy, and I find the continuity of a story as you go through a theatrical piece rather than a show or a movie where you're doing different bits at different times, which can also be really, really fun. But the continuity, the arc of a story to be one of the most fulfilling things about being on stage. I mean, and with the show that we're doing right now, there's a great arc to this whole thing, and so it's really fun to see, to feel that, to experience it. Yeah.
Saybrook Stage Company was probably a big passion of yours when you thought about it, let alone when you started it. How did it come about?
Well, it just came about when the Kate came into town, and we actually were down in Lower Fairfield County when my children were little, but then we moved up to the old Saybrook area, and just the idea came to me just because I was involved at the Kate, and it was just a passion of mine. So I thought, I can't get a better place to start a theater company than here. Yeah.
Theater company. People are probably out there saying, how on earth do you start a theater company? It's a thought, but what's the process that you went through to make it a reality?
Well, our first show was, Our Town, the two ladders and, the two tables, and that's about it. And I don't even know how many people saw that, maybe about 150, I guess, or something. But you start small, and I think I've had many people ask me over the years, what it is that keeps you going. A lot of theater companies go for a number of years, but then they just stop. And it really is the kind of the balance too between me and my husband. My husband's a great businessman, so he does the business end of things and the marketing and the advertising, and just the community connections too also help us tremendously. Like in the space that we're rehearsing now, the Ginty group has given us that, and it's huge, and it's like just a wonderful space to be in. Our set's being built right next door, and we're rehearsing in the building right next, or the space right next to it, so the actors can even see soon the set being built and painted and getting ready. So it's exciting. It's great.
We're talking about the theater. We have a wonderful videotape that came along with you visiting me today. So if we could run that tape, let's go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody please shut that thing off. Will somebody please shut that damn thing off now? Right on, Cool Breeze. That's jive talk, Ethel. Goodbye, woman. Wait a minute. Where's my chair? I can't fish without my chair.
It's out back, by the picnic table.
What's it doing there?
You were sitting on it yesterday.
Oh.
While you watched me clean the fish. Oh, is he making you clean those stupid fish? Yup.
That's right, Ethel. He cleans the stupid ones, and I clean the smart ones. Fortunately, the smart ones are too smart to get caught. That's why they're in schools.
It's really very nice of you.
I told you, I'm a very nice person. This one.
What's tonight at 10? Where's he going?
Oh, don't forget about Friday.
What's he doing in the bedroom? Wait, what about Friday?
Hello, operator?
That nut just went out the window!
Oh, yes, I'm calling West Orange, New Jersey.
Corey, did you hear what I said? There's an old nut out on our ledge!
917-624-6462.
Who are you calling?
My mother. On Friday, she's going to have dinner with that old nut. Yes, hello, Jessie. Could you have your mother call me just as soon as she gets in?
Hello?
Is this Paradise, Maine?
Hello?
Hello, Ethel. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Couldn't be better.
Good.
We weren't sure you'd still be there.
Oh, yes, we're just leaving.
Well, you drive safely.
Thank you.
Who is it?
I have no idea.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Chumley. Oh, my regards to you and anybody else you happen to run into.
I wouldn't want to go on living if I just thought it was eating and sleeping and taking off my clothes. Oh! Oh! Doctor! That is not my mother.
I am glad to hear that.
You swine! Oh! That'll teach you!
William!
That'll teach you!
Hello? Hello? Oh, get on the floor, darling.
Darling, what's the matter?
Well, no gunshots yet, but
I warn you, if you get up, I'll hit you again, Phillips.
what the hell is that for?
William, are you all right? Darling, are you all right?
I'm all right.
I'm all right.
I'm the only one in this house that is all right.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. What fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Terry, tell me what we just saw.
Well, these are just a few clips of some of the comedic pieces that we've done in the past. And one of the actors, actually, Mark Gilchrist, that you saw in playing Elwood in Harvey, he plays Max Levine in this particular show of Heaven Can Wait. And the chemistry between he and Nick it's just phenomenal. It's great. He plays Joe Pendleton's fight manager, and some of the scenes they have together are just priceless.
Okay, let's hold that thought. We're going to come back and
Sure.
talk about that show in just a second.
Okay.
I'm Deborah Gilbert. You are tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
You matter.
You matter.
You matter. And your words matter too.
Your words matter.
What you say in the hallways at school or in the student section at a game matters.
Words can be hurtful.
Words can be offensive.
Words can leave scars.
Words can also inspire,
support, and uplift.
You and your words.
Are they both important?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Better Business Bureau is warning consumers about a used car scam. The scammer pretends to be a woman who's lost her husband, and it says she's trying to get rid of his car. The scammer claims they'll put your money in escrow for 5 days, so if you don't like the car, you can get your money back. But BBB's investigation has uncovered that the escrow or logistics firm the scammer is using isn't legit. Many of these websites lead back to a virtual office in Hartford. Never wire funds for an online purchase, and always make sure you can see the car in person before you buy.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and of course, I hope you're enjoying the show. Well, Terri, Saybrook Stage Company has a show coming up in July, Heaven Can Wait. Let's talk about
We
it.
do. Heaven Can Wait. We're actually deep in rehearsals right now, and Nick has the lead role of Joe Pendleton, who is a boxer who was taken to heaven by an overzealous angel a little too early, 60 years too early, and Joe is very frustrated. He wants to get back to Earth into his boxing, career, and yet his body is no longer around because his fight manager has cremated him. So the whole comedy, fantasy sort of ensues with Joe trying to get into these different bodies of people and living his life, and yet they don't know that he's Joe Pendleton. They see him as the rich Farnsworth, or eventually the boxer he gets into.
And Nick, what was it like for you to take on this role as an actor?
It's been a pleasure. It's been a real joy. It's a rare opportunity when you get something like this. I teach, and so I talk to my students all the time about focusing on an arc for a character. And this character he runs through the whole play trying to figure out how to get back into his career as a boxer, trying to find his life again, trying to find himself again, but he just can't because obviously he's been separated from his body. And the frustration that comes with that, and just the earnestness that Joe just wears everything on his sleeves. It's a real pleasure because sometimes I end up playing real creeps, or sometimes I end up playing really like a little more abstract characters, and this is the guy who's just putting it all out there all the time, and it's just, he can't understand why other people might be dishonest, or why other people might fool around. Like he's a straight shooter, and that's been a real pleasure.
As an actor and also as a teacher, maybe you can give some advice to the viewer that is pursuing an acting career, would like to, have thoughts about even down the line doing it. What should they do? Education, workshops, go into New York City? What are your thoughts?
It's funny, there's not one silver bullet that's going to do it, but I would say if somebody is interested in doing it and they are young, to really focus on getting as much training up front as possible, either in a acting program like a BFA program like the one I was teaching at UConn, where you can get training and you can kind of get set up for the industry, and then go out after that point and pursue it as earnestly as possible. Really try to get yourself some representation, get into a market like New York, get into a market like Los Angeles, and really pound the pavement for as much as you possibly can. But that, I will say, is also by no means the only way to enjoy this career. There are so many other things that you can do, as long as, and I tell this to my students all the time, you keep the spark of what you want to do alive in you, that you want to pursue. You could start your own theater company. You can work with anybody to put up something anywhere. There are any number of, for instance, I actually work with attorneys in deposition as a standardized witness. Yeah, and that pays a lot of money. It's just, there are different things that you can do. But if you want to be out there right away, I would say go through a training program, and then, after that point, find a good market, and then pound the pavements, keep the workshops going. You always have to be learning as well to keep the skills alive.
Now, Terri, Saybrook Stage Company will be at the Kate in July for Heaven Can Wait. Have you thought about your calendar for the rest of, now you perform twice a year, summer,
right.
and winter.
January and July.
And July. Mm-hmm. So have you thought about your January and July show for 2023?
I'm considering a couple of pieces. We haven't really set anything in stone yet. There are a couple of pieces we did early on. Speaking of the beginning of Saybrook Stage Company, one of my favorites would be A.R. Gurney's Dining Room. So I'm thinking of possibly doing that in January, because that was one of our first shows, our second show, I think, that we did. And it's a lot of fun, and I love the style of it where the different scenarios sort of intertwine with each other. And it's a great, comedic piece, but also there's a couple of heart-wrenching scenes, not heart-wrenching, but heartwarming scenes in it as well. So that's a possibility, but I haven't really set anything yet in stone. But
you know what I want to do, because the Kate is so important to our area, but also very important to you and to your company. Let's play the second videotape that is a wonderful tribute, not only to your theater company, but to the Kate. So let's do that. If we could play the second video, that would be great.
People often tell us how grateful they are that the Saybrook Stage Company is part of the Shoreline artistic community, and we're so happy to be a part of the Kate and to be able to produce live theater in such a beautiful venue in the perfect New England town. But Saybrook Stage Company has given us so many things in return over the last 12 years. The friendships we've made and the professional connections and opportunities that present themselves to us just keep growing every year. We may run the Saybrook Stage Company, but the success of it is the combined efforts and passions of countless talented, energetic people. There's the actors, of course, but the people behind the scenes also put in hours of work that make it all happen. There are directors, set designers, lighting designers, set builders, stage managers, costume designers, hair and makeup designers, prop masters, and stage crew. And the local support of businesses in the area like the Gainty Group, who willingly donate rehearsal and set building space, and the Westbrook Ambulance Association. It's a labor of love for all of us. It's not always easy, but the rewards are something I never could have imagined when we produced Our Town all those years ago. We're so grateful to Brett Elliott and all the people at the Cape for their constant support of all we do. Each time we move into the Cape to build a set for a new show, there is such a warm feeling of community. If you're an artist that's lucky enough to perform at the Cape, it doesn't matter where you're from. LA, New York, Chicago, Hartford, or right here in her own backyard. While you're there, you too feel as if the theater is your home. Here's to you, Kate. I hope we make you proud.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. We're talking about the Saybrook Stage Company. Hope you're enjoying the show. Terri, you decided on the Kate. Why did you decide on this theater? Does a theater company that gets created decide on a theater? Where was the connection for you in that?
Not usually. I think usually people will start a theater company and then get whatever venue they can, go to, and whatever fits their particular production. But I think it was something about the Kate from the beginning. I just loved, and I think it was, the combination of, for example, the director, the executive director at the Kate now, Brett Elliott. He's just such a wonderful friend, but also a wonderful help to us in everything that we do. And it's encouraging to have, a whole group of people behind you, as well as just to have your company itself. If you have a whole theater that's run so exquisitely like the Kate is, it's tremendous. So that's what got me there.
Nick, what does the future look like for you? Granted, you're doing this play now. Do you have thoughts of the rest of the year into 2023? What are some of the things that you'd like to work on?
Some of the things I'd like to work on right now, I'm casting a net at the moment. So I have this to look forward to. But after this point, really just auditions and getting out there as much as I can. It's a wonderful time right now in the sense that theater companies are slowly but surely returning to in-person auditions, and so it's been one of the upsides and downsides of doing this is that you have to travel all over, but in traveling all over you get to meet a lot of great people, and you have the opportunity to be seen by a lot of different theater companies, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that. So that's really what's coming down the road for me. So I'm looking forward to the potential. Yeah.
Speaking of the pandemic, when it affected you as an actor, did you have to go virtual to be able to submit your auditions, and now you're saying in person? Things have changed?
Yeah, that was a very hard pivot to filming auditions in my home. which is not an easy thing for me. I've never really enjoyed it. I like being in front of people. I like being seen. And I'm a perfectionist, and so I will just record and record and record until I feel like it's the right thing. So there was a lot of those that came up in the pandemic. Of course, in the pandemic too, there weren't as many or any shows really being done, and so there weren't as many things to audition for. But slowly but surely, we're coming back, and more and more theaters are now being encouraged by both the union and I think that just their own preference to have people come back into their studios for shows to audition. Yeah.
How was the pandemic affecting your theater? Did you had stopped?
We did. We had to stop. In fact, this piece has been closed down in production or whatever for twice already. So the third time is a charm for this one, certainly. But it's interesting because when I first chose Heaven Can Wait, I really just chose it for the story. I always have loved stories about heaven and earth, kind of colliding and having that rare, unique moment to connect with someone in heaven and ask some life questions. And I remembered certainly the Warren Beatty, film that was based. This is based on, or that they based this on, I should say. But now that we're doing this, it's interesting because it was written sort of to get people to calm down and to be a little bit more not so worried about World War II, and they were really kind of anxious about what was going to happen to them. And now when we're putting this on, it's a perfect time to do it because the last 2 years of our lives we've all been so anxious and worrying about the future and our mortality, and it's kind of a neat way it kind of transpired to come across at this particular time.
Well, thank you both very much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, thank you.
And I wish you all the best in the show that's coming up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I will. I'm coming. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned into Arts and Entertainment, and if you'd like to volunteer on the program or if you'd like to be a guest, please be in touch with me. I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day. Thanks so much as always for tuning in. I'll see you next time.